function. What is meant by function? Function is a subprogram. If you have been assigned to do a task and you are dividing the task into number of subtasks, each subtask is called as the function, right? Here we can see in this main function we have defined function 1 here. See, and this function 1 is called here, and this function 1 has number of statements. So this function has one or more statements, and that statements will be performing some task, right? So what is the advantage of function? So the main advantage is reusability. So you can make use of the code again, and also you can have the better readability, and also the code redundancy. You can reduce the code redundancy. Also it is very easy to debug, right? These are all the advantages of functions. And we have two main different types in the function. One is predefined function and another is user defined function. What is meant by predefined function and what is meant by user defined function? Predefined function is nothing but library function. So these function cannot be modified. Already the code has been written and we have been saved in those code in the library. So these function, whenever we want to use those function, you can call the particular function. Here we can see the example of square root function. So this square root function has the number of steps which finds the square root of given value, right? So automatically when you are calling this function, the square root of that particular number will be calculated. This is what predefined function. So the next one is user defined function. So user defined function we can modify because we are writing the code. So whenever it is needed we can modify that. And also you can have, it is defined by the user only. So as their requirement they can define their own instructions, right? If we are giving sum of a comma b, so this sum function will have the number of instructions to be executed and those instructions will be given by the user, right? This is what we call it as user defined function. What is the advantage of user defined function? See, in the user defined function we have the length of the source code. It can be reduced and you can easily locate the error, right? And you can also avoid the repeated instruction. That is the main use of the function, right? Right. So how we can write the function? What are all the basic elements of the function? That will be seen now. So what are all the elements? One is function declaration, second one is function definition, third one is function call. So whenever we are going to write the program with the help of the function, we have to declare the function first, right? And the second thing is we have to define those functions, and the third thing, function call. Whenever you call the function, then only you can execute the number of instructions which have been defined inside that function, right? We will see this example. So this is what the function definition. See, this is data type followed by the function name, and you can give the parameter list within the parenthesis. After that, you can mention, you can start the function with the curly brace and you can mention number of instruction here, and you can have the return statement, or you may not, sometimes it is not needed, right? So the return may or may not be present in the function, right? So how the function works? So once a function is called, we will see the example. See, this is what the function call. Once the function is called, then the control of this main program is passed to the specified function. Here in this main function you will be executing the number of statements here, and at a particular step you will be calling the function 1, right? So immediately the main function, this is what the calling function, right? And this main function will stop and then the control will pass to the called function, right? Here function 1 is the called function. So after executing each and every line inside this function, so the control, finally the control will be passed to the main program. Okay, if the result is returned here, it will be returned. Otherwise, all the specified steps will be evaluated and done only inside the function, right? So this is how the function works, right? Once the function is called, the control passes to the called function. So the working of the calling function is temporarily stopped, right? So when the execution of called function is completed, then the control will be come back to the calling function and execute with the next statement. So after completing the last statement inside this function, the control will be passed here. Then the next instruction of this calling function will be executed, right? So how when we write this function, how the parameters has been passed, and inside the function definition and also inside the function call, we can pass the parameters. How we can pass those parameters? Actually, we have two types of parameters. One is actual parameter and the second one is formal parameter. See, these actual parameters are transferred from the calling function to the call function, right? And the formal parameter is the parameters which have been used inside the called function. We'll see the example now. See, this is what the main function. Already we have written some statements here. And at this point, we are calling the function 1. And inside the function call, we have specified a comma b, right? These a comma b have been specified in the calling function, right? So the a comma b, a and b are the actual parameters. So whenever the function is called, the control is transferred here, and in the function definition, we have specified x and y. So these x and y are the formal parameters. So these have been used only inside this function 1, which have been specified in the function 1, and whenever the control is passed back to the main function, the next statement will be executed, right? So a and b are the actual parameters and x and y are the formal parameters, right? So these are the two parameters which have been used in the function, right? Now we will see about the function definition, how to define the function definition. See, whenever you have defining a function, the memory space is allocated to the function, right? And this function definition has two main parts. One is function header, another is function body, right? What is function header? See, here you will be specifying the return data type. If it is returning, you can mention int, or if it is not returning, you can mention void, right? So void, then followed by the function name. If you are performing like addition, you can specify add, right? And then inside that parenthesis, you can mention the parameters, right? So after that, you are going to start the function definition with the curly brace, right? You are writing the number of statements here and then returning the variable, right? This is what the first line is, what the function header, and the remaining lines are the function body, right? So in the function header, you will be specifying the data type, returning data type of the function name, and followed by the parameters. And inside the function body, you will be specifying the instructions to be take place, right? And the other important thing is the number of arguments. The number of arguments and the order in the function header must be same as you have given in the function declaration. See, these three are the basic main things while using the function inside the program, right? One is function declaration, second one is function definition, third one is function call. So function declaration should be given before you are using that particular function, right? And the number of arguments, the order of the arguments, both should be same. So whatever you have given in the function declaration part should be same as you have mentioned in the function definition part, right? So next thing is function call. So function call will be invoking your function. So you can write the function and also you can define the function. But whenever your function is called, then only that particular instructions have been invoked. So function call is very, very important, right? So when the function, as we have seen earlier, when the function is called, then it is invoked. So the compiler just jumps to the call function and the number of statements which have been specified will be executed. And after executing all those programs, you will be returning back to the main function or calling function, right? So the function call statement has the specified syntax. You have to give the function name followed by the parenthesis. Inside the parenthesis, you can pass the arguments and then finally the semicolon should be placed. So this is what the function call. So already we have seen the function definition here. So return data type, function name followed by the parameters, and you have to start with the curly brace. You can mention the number of statements here. So this is for function definition and this is for function call. Then finally we have the return statement, right? So the return statements we will be mentioning in function definition the return data type. So the return can be either int or void. Void means it will not return anything, right? So the particular statement, if it is mentioned as int, then you have to return the value which have been executed in that particular function, right? So the return statement may or may not send some values to the calling function. Okay, so the syntax is either you can specify with the return only or you can return it with the specified expression, right? So this is what the syntax for return when you are returning the values, right? So next we have some 4 prototypes which have been used in the function. So first one is function with no arguments and no return values, right? Second one is function with arguments and no return values. Third one with arguments and return values. Fourth one with no arguments and with return values. So see here you can return or you will not be returned. That are all the 2 different things in returning statement. And the same 2 different things are with arguments and without arguments, right? So these are all the 4 different prototypes of the function, right? First we will see about one by one, right? So this is what function with the no arguments and no return values. So here you will not be passing any arguments, and at the same time you will not be returning any values. If you are calling the function, we will see the example for that. See, here inside the main function you have called the function, and in the function definition also you are not using any arguments. In the function call also you are not using the arguments, and also you are not returning anything as you have making some calculations or executing the number of instructions here. Just whatever calculator just kept in only inside the function. It is not returned back to the main function, right? So this is what with no return values. Number 2, you are not passing any arguments. In the function call as well as in the function definition, you are not passing any values. So this is what with no arguments. So no arguments have been used here and no return is used inside the function definition, right? We will see the example. See, like This is what the sample program for addition of two numbers. In this program, we will be here we have used the header files stdio.h and conio.h. So this header file is used for your input and output functions, printf and scanf. We are using this header files, and also this header file is used here. We are using the clear screen, and also get ch for also we can use the header file, and your part start from here. This is what the function. This is what the function declaration, right? You have mentioned void. Void means return nothing, right? So void and followed by the function name, right? Add is given. Here this is what the function declaration, and your calling from function starts from here. Void main is mentioned. Inside this main function, you are calling the function. This is what function call, right? Add is the function call, and you are using getch, and this is what the function definition, right? So whenever the function call is invoked, the control is transferred to the function add, right? So now the number of instructions have been executed. Inside this function void add, right? You are specifying, you are declaring each and every variable. You are getting inputs of A and B. Then you are calculating the addition. Finally, you are saving it in C, and then you are printing the value of the sum. This is what we are doing inside the function. And inside this function, we are not passing the arguments here. We have declared here and we have used it here, but we are not passing it in the function definition. We are not passing it in function declaration, and also we are not passing it in function call, and also it is not passed here in function definition also, right? So no arguments has been passed. Second thing, no values has been returned. So this is what the first type. So as for the previous program, this will be the output of the program. We will be getting the input. So your nothing is displayed here, right? Soon after the function call, the control will be passed here. Here the printf statement is given here. So now here enter to number. So that's what we have given in the output. Enter to number. You will be receiving the numbers from the user, and it is calculated. After this, you will be calculating the addition, and you are printing the value of C, right? You will be printing the value of sum is 7, right? This is the first type, function with no arguments and no return values, right? Clear? Shall we move to the next one? Right. So the second type is with arguments and no return values. So you have to pass the arguments, but you will not return the values. So this is like one-way data communication. You will be passing the arguments from calling function to called function, but you will not return, you will not receiving any values which have been calculated in the called function, right? We will see example now, right? So inside this main function, this is the function call, right? So in the function 1, inside this function call, we are passing two parameters A, B, right? And the control is transferred to the function 1. Now you have specified x comma y, right? X, y, and you will be calculating all the sequence of steps. And after completing that, you are not returning. You are passing the argument, right? But you are not returning. So the values will not be returned. Just it will be printed, or it will be saved only inside this function, and the control only transferred, right? Control will be transferred, and after that you will be start executing from the next line, right? So this is what the function with arguments and no return values, right? So we'll see the example for this type. So here we have specified header files, and after that function declaration, right? So in this function declaration, we have mentioned void because we are not specifying, we are not returning any values. So void is specified here. Void add of. We are passing the arguments. So int comma int. Both the values are in integer. So you can specify only with the data types itself, right? So int comma int, and then your main program starts here. Here in this program we are receiving the inputs from the user, right? Here itself we are receiving the inputs, right? So just we are printing enter to number, and then we are receiving the input values from the user. Then we have the function call. In the function call, we are specifying whatever the values received from the user are passed inside the function call, right? So when the function is called here, the control is transferred to the function definition. Here also we are passing with the arguments x and y. So here we have declared z, since z is used to save the addition of these two numbers, right? So after performing the addition operation, we will be saving it in z, right? So then finally we are printing the value of z, right? Here what are all the things we have done? We are passing the arguments. We have calculated the value, but the value is printed here itself. So we are not passing it into main function or calling function. So the value will not be returned back to the main function, right? So the arguments have been passed, but we have not used return statement. So this is the type 2. The next one. So this is what the output of the previous program. We will be receiving the input from the user. So this input functions have been used in the main function itself, right? In the main function itself, we are receiving the inputs, and then the function call is used here. The control is transferred. After calculation, we are printing. So the output statement is printed from the function, right? The third one is function with arguments and return values. So you have to pass the function arguments and you are going to use the return statements. So you will be returning the values to the calling function, right? So this is like two-way communication. The previous one is one-way communication, right? So we will see the how it works. In the main function, you have the function call here. See here the difference. So we are using C, which is equal to function 1. So whatever the result which has been returned, right? Whatever the result which have been returned here will be stored in the value of C, right? After this function call, your control will be passed to the function. You will be executing the statements, and finally the resultant values has been passed with the value of Z. This Z is stored in C. So here you are returning the value. Since you are returning the value, you have to specify the data type of the function is int, right? So we will see the example. See here. We will start from the first. We have used the header files, and then in the function declaration, we are passing the arguments with the data type int and int. So inside this main function, here inside this function, we are using values or declaration of this variables, since we are getting the values from the user A and B. You have been received from the user, and those values have passed in the function, right? So A and B have been passed. Then you are printing the calculated sum value, but the calculation of sum is done inside this function only, right? So what is done here means, so after this function call, the control is transferred here. So whenever you are calling this function, all these statements will be executed, right? So you will be finding the addition of two values, and you will be returning the Z value. So after mentioning the return statement, the control will be passed to the main function and it will be start executing from the next statement. So here it will be returning the values and the value is stored in C and that C will be printed. Right? So you will be passing the arguments and you are returning the values. So both the things have been done inside this program. Right? So let's see the output of this program. So we will be receiving the input values and the calculated sum is returned back to main function, and from the main function you can receive the output statement which is specifying the sum is. Right? So this is what the third type of the function prototype. And the last type of the function prototype is function with no arguments. That is, you are not passing any arguments, but it will be returning values. So you have to give the return statements. So this is also like one-way data communication because you are not passing any arguments, but from the function definition you will be returning the value of you will be returning the value which have been received from the function. Right? So this is what the fourth type. We will see the function with no arguments with return values. Some variable, right? C equal to function 1, but you are not passing any arguments in the function. So in the function declaration, in function definition, in function call, at the three different places you will not be using any arguments. See, we will see the example program. So this is what the function call, right? Inside the function call we are not passing any arguments, and inside this main function we have the function call. This is function declaration, this is function declaration, and this is function call. So in both the places we are not passing any arguments, and inside the function definition also we are not passing any arguments, right? But we will be returning the value. So after this header files you have to mention the function declaration with no arguments, and inside the main function you are calling the function. In the function call also you are not specifying any arguments, but inside this function definition, here also in the header also you are not passing any arguments, but we have the return statement. You are executing, you are receiving the values, input values from the user, you are calculating the addition value, and then you are returning the value. After this statement your control will be passed to the main function, and here you will be printing the value of sum. Right? So you are not passing any arguments, but you are returning the values. Right? So this is we can see the output of the program. We will be receiving the input values and the sum is calculated. Both the values are received in the function only, right? And the calculation is also done here only. But we are returning the values, and the printing statement, the printf statement is executed in the main function, right? So we move to the next one. These are all the 4 different types of the function prototypes. Clear? Right. So we will move to the next topics, which is known as library function. So far we have seen about the user defined function. All the instructions have been written by the user, so we can modify the code, right? But in the library function we cannot modify the code because it is predefined function. All the number of statements have been written and they have been stored in the library. So these functions will be having like a mathematical function and string manipulation function. We'll see the examples for the library function. One is square root. So square root of x. So the value of the x, square root of the x value will be we'll see the example of the we'll see the y. So the base has been given here x and the power can be given as y. So power of 5 comma 2. So the value, you know the value, that is 25, right? So next one is C. So it is used to find the smallest integer greater than or equal to. So if it is 7.7, C of 7.7 is greater or equal to value is 8, right? So next example is to ASCII. You will be converting the ASCII value of the given value. Here we have mentioned small a. The ASCII value for small a is 97, right? So this is what we calculate the ASCII value and how to convert, right, to upper. If you are specifying the lowercase letter within the parenthesis and with the single quotes, you can get the upper case character for the given character. And also if you mention the ASCII value also, you can receive the uppercase letter, right? So this is what 2 upper and 2 lower. 2 lower means, so if you mention any uppercase letter within the single quotes, you can receive the smaller lowercase letter. So this is what the library functions. So far we have seen above the library function, user defined function, and when we go for the user defined function, what are all the basic elements in the function? That is, one is function call, function declaration and function definition. So what are all the syntax for each and every element? And also we have seen about the function prototype, which has 4 different types, right? So and also we have seen about the return type, right? Okay, thank you all. We will see in the next